Alrighty, hello folks. Let's go ahead and do this thing. So, back to the... wait. For some reason it decided to get stuck there a little bit. So, back to the previously scheduled box hunting. Can't help but notice something. Last time we got a box here, but it still was showing, 0 out of 3. So, I guess that means there's a specific thing that's supposed to drop, or something along those lines. No idea. But we'll find out all the same. Now, out of curiosity, let's see, there's one here. Okay, you know what, I just completely missed that there's boxes in here. So, okay, the little treasure dealies are elsewhere. What about this? Is this, Alright, so there's 2 chests, and then there's gonna be one more dude guy, presumably. And I would assume, given what we've seen so far, I'm gonna assume that one of those tablets is gonna be in that one spot where we couldn't actually get to the lake. And then the other one's probably gonna be dropped by the guy here. Because just the fact that he didn't spawn seems, or just the fact that he didn't get marked off kind of tells me that it's probably supposed to be guaranteed to keep spawning until you get it. If I were to guess. It's still nothing. On a little bit of a side note, yesterday and the day before, I've been going through and taking another look through FFTA, just, you know, the old nostalgia box and everything. And, you know what, man? It always kind of catches me off guard just how difficult that thing actually is. Like, especially at the start, it's kind of surprising. Like, I will say, it's kind of a brilliant bit of game design, because the very first fight, you were given about the worst team you could possibly have going into that. Also, I just saw the box that I missed. It's over here. There we go. All right, so this fight seems easy enough. There's only one human character there. It's fine. We'll do as we do. See if this team can go ahead and do it. But yeah, so in terms of why it's kind of a brilliant game design there. So, okay, for anyone that's maybe not tried it before, so FFTA's starting mission, you get your usual team of 5 randos there. You have your main character as the basic attacker class. You get 1 extra basic attacker class. That's one of the humans there. You get a really bad archer. You get a really bad monk. You get a kind of crappy healer, and then you have your special healer that you've had that you got in the intro, or not healer, but your mage guy. Now, I just want to point out that, yeah, every one of them is about the worst thing that they could possibly be. Like, with your human character, they start off with some pretty bad armor, like, literally the worst thing. The shop and everything else has better versions of everything, but you have a small budget to go and kind of update everyone. And yeah, the archer gets to be okay later. But they're never a powerhouse. To give you an idea of the damage ranges going on there, the archer does 6 to 7 per shot. Their only starting ability that they can get at the start is focus, so it's just a 50% bonus to the next attack. So they'll maybe do 10 or 11. And the things you're fighting have 70 to 90 health. Not to mention you're going in equal numbers. Not to mention your... yeah, let's just go ahead and stick a trap right there. Not to mention, yeah, on top of the whole numbers thing, they're also going to be doing 20s. So you guys have about half as much health. They do about a third as much damage. A third to half as much damage. And on top of that, you're very limited in terms of your recovery stuff. So you're basically supposed to lose. They just go full, souls in the very first fight there. Which, I gotta say, it's a neat little bit of design there. Because I never would have expected that from an FF game, especially from back in the day. It's just, you don't see that often. And it's kind of neat because it pretty much forces you to go and realize, like, oh, here's all these different potential ideas I could go with. Like, you could go take that archer, turn them into a fencer, and honestly, that's probably the best approach I've seen on that. Like, you turn them into a fencer, suddenly they can do poison. Those guys can't recover out of poison, and it lasts infinitely, so functionally speaking, you have a debuff that'll just win the fight for you. You can get more casters going. You can figure out that the two-handers and shields are actually usable at the same time by your soldiers there, or your soldier class units and all that. What is this? 1.25... What? Why is that interesting? Does it have an AoE or something? What? I mean, that's cool, but why? Does he not have gear or something? I mean, he's got some stuff. I don't know why he's got absolutely no power there, but okay. We'll look into that later. But it's just a cool thing there. Alright, let's see. You're just gonna go after this one. One of these characters is a bit more useful than the others. That'll do. She could probably go finish this one off, and then we're off to a very, very solid start at that point. Beautiful. Alright, Monk Robe, that looks pretty snazzy. Let's go ahead and allure this guy. Alrighty, right, he's gonna critical quick. Doesn't have any, anything that he can really do right now, though. Oh, actually, wait, his Mirage still gets to work? Interesting. Okay, yeah, Assassin's way better than I, originally gave it credit for. And yeah, every time that his Mirage gets triggered, he just immediately goes back into Quicken again. Just over here flashing this dragon. Oh, interesting. So he's, yeah, all of his debuff ticks are actually going on during that time, too. Handy stuff. Alright, let's see. That one's charmed. Let's just go over here. Go bop this dragon some. Okay, he's got partial resistance. That's what's going on there. It's slightly better. I feel like Yumel is just turning out amazingly disappointing so far. We'll see if he ends up getting better over time. Let's go ahead and throw a rock at this guy. Problem solved. Yes, an arrow might have done the job. It's just more fun to do it with a rock. See if we can get a strength in here. Dark Barrier. I still have no idea what Dark Barrier actually does. What's, let's see. You know, Dark Barrier will have higher elemental resistance to all elements except Holy. Good to know. Beautiful. Yeah, Desperate Blow is insane. Especially when combined with all this stuff. Alright, that'll do there. He'll be fine. Probably just put him over here. And from there, all we gotta do is go collect stuff. Just let Lazuli get the kill here. The other one shouldn't be doing very much over there on the side. Gonna go ahead and throw out one of these in the off chance of getting a Quicken. Alright, nope. You know, I'm actually wondering if these collections of different buffs and debuffs are actually random, or if maybe, just maybe, they're just certain sets that can roll at the same time. See, the cool thing about him and all his Mirage-y type stuff is that everybody seems to target him, and his Mirage is about to run out, isn't it? Yep. Welp. Then he's gonna have to probably back up real quick here. So let's see. Yeah, I think Lazuli's running Chivalry. He might be able to put a Berserk on there. But yeah, Allure's really likely to hit, so we'll just do that. Perfect. Best friend Jellyfish. Say chat. You know, I really have a feeling that this stuff must be scaling with where we are in the game here. Nice. So apparently Field Aid can also crit. Anyone got any debuffs? Not really. Everyone's kind of buffed all hell right now. Alright, now do you have counterattack by any chance? No, you have evade magic. Basically what I was saying there is if I could get him to counterattack for a little bit of extra experience. No such luck, though. Alright. 0%. Oh, right. Very nice. I keep forgetting about that. Just get our box, and we're done here. Healbot 3000. Okay, so apparently, according to the achievement I just got, that should be all the items, I think. Alright, I'm gonna let Lazuli get a couple free levels for as long as I can here. I figure while we're here, we might as well, right? It's got a few characters that are so comically underleveled. It's well, it's kind of a joke. And 94% dodge. Not to mention we can just keep using Pylon here. So they basically can't even do anything. On free experience. Right, you do nothing because everyone's leveling off of you. Thankfully, she's so freakishly tanky that it, yeah, doesn't even matter. They can all just keep hitting on her for a while. Crit or no crit, we're getting levels. Definitely need to remember that. that the gambler can just keep them stun-locked indefinitely. Because, yeah, Yumel and Lazuli, they should be good. They've got the skills, they've got the classes, they should have the opportunity to be better. But as it stands, they just disappoint every time they show up. And that's what I want to fix here. Yeah, Softball's getting decent experience. Not as much, obviously. But still pretty alright. So if that's most of the boxes... No, it can't be all the boxes. I know for sure it can't be all the boxes, because one of them I specifically never could get to because I didn't have a warp option to get into there. So now, actually, technically speaking, I had a warp option, I just didn't know that I needed it. Still though. Bird. Bird, bird, bird. Bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. I mean, technically, we can just keep doing this until they get about 10. Well, until they stop getting 100 experience per move, I think. Or at least until they stop getting like 64s and 100s. And actually, for what it's worth, this is the first grinding session we've had this entire time. At least, like, legit grinding session. I mean, like, where we're just sitting and doing the same thing over and over without actually getting any new resources or anything. Like, just straight up XP grind. You'd think this would be at least partially illegal. You know what happened? A bunch of people were just having a fight in the middle of a field. One of them was going around groping a jellyfish for about an hour. Yeah, we don't know what to make of it either. Out of curiosity, if this hits a mirage... Okay, don't get anything, still get experience, though. Good to know. I was kind of curious if you could still do a health drain there. Wouldn't make sense you'd be able to, but might be kind of neat. And more Mirage for you. It's probably the safest way to take soft pause arrows. Them suckers are friggin' lethal. That's why sometimes he gets 68, sometimes he gets 100. I don't friggin' know. It's some kind of random range. But well. right there. And now she can get... Actually, I don't know if her never getting knocked out bonus... I don't know if that actually goes away if she rebirths here. I mean, she will go ahead and just eat a bunch of his health, I guess, or not. Alright, if I get a double turn on this, I'm gonna go ahead and do the random heal from Asleston. Oh, you know what? Actually, we might be able to just use Mirage Training now that I'm looking at it. Because looking at it here, every time he gets hit and his Mirage gets knocked out, he should theoretically be getting another one. I guess we'll find out. Yep. Yep, that's what we need to do. Neat. Neat, neat, neat. That'll work. Actually, if I just do Drain Soul, that should give her some experience too. Not that she really needs any more of it. Actually, her being over-leveled is kind of the thing that's gotten us into problems here. Oh, hi there, Annihilator. Let's see. No way to know, way to dive. I'm nothing in the world, but... wait, what? Seen that cool documentary about arcades in Japan? Out of curiosity, I wonder if it covered how often stuff seems to get broken over there. Like, it's funny that for arcade maintenance being such a thing in any kind of... in pretty much any movie that involved them, I don't think I've ever seen anything being worked on in an arcade. I know it's kind of an odd thing to bring up, but I've never seen an arcade machine broken. So I guess the better question would be, what kind of stress tests do they put them through? Also, welcome to repeatedly stabbing a crippled pumpkin man in a Speedo. This is for training, I promise. Yeah, wildcard heal isn't very good, but it works. I mean, in a pinch it'll do the job. I mean, this is definitely an exploit, make no mistake, but you know what? It's a fun exploit. It's kind of a harmless exploit. Except for poor Pumpkin Stoffles. This is probably going to give him some kind of trauma, at least. And/or convince him he's a superhero. And yeah, if Pylon or Charm ever fail, well... then I guess we'll just have to kill that thing and be done with it. will say this feels necessary. We may finally be done with this obscenely difficult map, but I feel like we'll need all the help we can get. Maybe it's a random chance for what kind of experience you get. Like, there's probably like a low, medium, high kind of situation going on there. So you really wish to have arcades around again? I've been busy playing games with other people. It'd be cool to see more arcades around. The family and I went over to, there's this place called Craig's Cruisers over here, which is basically just a gigantic arcade. It used to be a kid's go-kart track, and it still has a go-kart track, but it's about 90% arcade and just a million machines all over the place. It's just awesome. But I went there a little while ago. Got some funny looks from my wife being all giddy about that place. Like, oh man, this is amazing. They've got everything here. I'll probably never play any of it, but it's just fun to walk around. Cool thing is, he's just flying up in levels, because all these technically count as him, what am I saying here? All of these count as him using a buff on himself, so there's no diminishing returns. That's just always going to be like 10 to 12 whenever using one on yourself. So he's always going to get a pretty reasonable amount. So we're just going to have ultimate invincible pumpkin man over here. There's also video games. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the deal with arcades. Why would it not have video games? I mean, it's got the usual kind of like skee ball and basketball and that little thing where you chuck the coins in, and it eventually builds up to a prize of some sort, except, you know, over at that one, apparently so many people had used it, and it hadn't been maintained for a little bit, so there were these, the little bars where everything was supposed to go down, and a couple of them had just broken off, so the game couldn't actually ever spit out its jackpot, and so we went over to this other one, and got really disappointed by the prices of the prizes there, because so my wife stays at this one for a little bit, and eventually it rolls the whole complete thing, and we're thinking like, oh, you know, it's doing this whole big song and dance, it's farting out all these, you know, it's technically tickets on a card. They don't actually print tickets anymore, but no, we're gonna go get so much cool stuff for the kids, and then we go over there. It's like, oh, you got like some 4,000 or something like that, and so we go over to the prize shop, and it's like, oh, you can get a Snickers. Congratulations, you just spent $20 on a Snickers. Oh, man. Capitalism. Arcade game generally means all kinds of games, so similar to casinos, but suck more money. Yeah. Hell, the funny part is, one of the machines there, that particular coin machine, I'd seen in Vegas before, and I was looking at it, and it's literally the same friggin' machine. They just, you know, they changed a few things to make it quote-unquote family-friendly. But, yeah, literally the exact same company makes them. Keep extending that. Hot dang. Mirage, how are you so good? What I don't get is why Mirage is so cheap. I mean, there's a reason this thing was anywhere from like 4 to 70 TP in Tactics Ogre, depending on what kind of version you're using. In some places it used consumables, in other places it was available in different ways. But you could never really pull this off. I think that the most likely to pull it off was the Hoplite in the original. And then, I mean, you could do evade pretty regularly in one vision, I guess. But even still, like, it wasn't to this degree. You could still do it once per turn. You couldn't combine it with a critical quicken. I mean, unless he has something that can actually evade Mirage, which I don't think it even exists. I don't know if there's anything that can evade Mirage. Okay, no, there is. Cleansing Strike is probably the only thing that can actually stop this. He's functionally invincible to anything aside from the moves that'll basically knock off all debuffs and scale damage appropriately. Or according to how many debuffs got knocked off. Let's see. Let's go to space. Documentaries talk about players trying to get the best out of themselves, trying to get high scores. Interviewed a multi-record holder, which also made my favorite shmup. Sounds pretty sweet. See, what I'd like to see is an arcade version of some really, really unnecessarily... Like games that were never made to be beaten in a single sitting. Which I guess Gauntlet kind of... You ever play the Gauntlet arcade version? I remember when we were kids, my brother got really mad at me one time because we were at this hotel in Orlando, and they had this Gauntlet machine next to the room. And, you know, dumb little kid me, I was like, oh, you know, we need all the help we can get, so I have this pocket full of quarters, and some other kids are coming along, they run out of quarters, and I'm like, oh crap, we're gonna lose the thing here, I have quarters. my brother comes in, just like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you giving away money? I'm like, quarters are money? They're coins that make the game go beep. I don't know. Let's see. When I go around the internet, it's on reverse. Everyone trying to boast and get on leaderboards and swing their chickens. Yeah. That's generally how it goes, though. I mean, if you want to stick out on the internet, you got to do something first. Why the hell am I leveling her again? This is like a bad addiction to getting her level up. Seriously. I think it all started with Space Invaders. Now shmups are more about dodging than shooting. Very true, and apparently have a surprising amount more like children that are not children that are, well, kind of questionable in their conduct flying around in pajamas. Because, you know, I guess Japan's like that. You know, despite one of the things on my playlist actually being from Toho there, never could understand how people could play that. I'm sure there's a good game in there, but the aesthetics are so weird. That's like, that is the point where I kind of draw the line of, like, this is all concepts and no actual visuals telling me what's actually going on. Because they're just having a normal conversation and then flying around space lasers everywhere, and then it's just a bunch of sprites dodging each other, and apparently this is a narrative or something that people get very serious about. Let's see. Being patient and all? Yeah. Alright, I seriously need to stop attacking him with her before she gains 15 more levels, and then suddenly we gotta fight literal gods just walking them down the street here. Because I'm pretty sure, due to the general circumstances of this permadeath run, I'm pretty sure that there was never supposed to be this big of a level disparity. 2 is very iffy? Yeah. It's just weird. I mean, like, I'm sure there's a good game in there. From what I've seen in there, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's just, I don't know what to even say about it. It's just bizarre. It's just so... It's not, like, even, like, the art style is weird. It's just everything is just beyond comprehension there. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Is it just supposed to be a bizarre fever dream that involves dodging? Just, how else would you describe it, you know? I'm gonna let him take his first actual turn in a very long time. Oh, he's exhausted now? Or actually, he stopped being exhausted? Alright, fair enough. See, made by one guy, fans call him a god, but the design lacks thoughts. It honestly doesn't seem like it's that much of a thing for one guy to do there. Like, actual animation-wise, it's all sprites going around. It's, you know, essentially just targets having to go around in different patterns. I mean, I'm assuming there's probably only about one pattern designer in general anyway, so why would you have multiple people doing that? I mean, just for the sake of consistency, it makes sense. So, based off what I've seen on it, it doesn't really have any kind of fancy transitions going on in the background. It's usually just one thing, and then they have some dialogue back and forth. So, I don't know. I mean, again, you have much more complicated ones like Himeko's Story there. Full-blown, like 3D RPG and stuff like that going on. Honestly, I'm way more impressed by that, because there's actually systems on systems on systems going on. Instead of just like, you get touched by the thing, you dead, haha. Now have more very anime story. Enemy positioning puts out a random. You see one appear on the left, another on the right, then a swarm comes out. You just the patterns were taken from the previous ones. Yeah. And yeah, that part of the art is a pretty good reason as to why I personally would prefer to just stay away from that in general. Just because it feels like the kind of thing that if you ended up getting a high score in it, you'd probably wind up on some sort of list. I don't know. Again, maybe there's more to it, but from what I've seen, that about sums it up. Now, if we could only get somebody obsessively cranking out Matsuno games every week, that'd be something else. That'd be real nice. You know what? Friggin' Ogre Battle and Armored Core, they just need somebody like that they find some really low-budget way to put out 1 million of them a week. Just get all that content going. Like, if these guys just start putting out random maps or whatever else, I'd be on board for that. If somebody managed to retool, like, let's say 3rd Gen Armored Core's engine, and just kept releasing DLC for Silent Line, that would be amazing. Put a bunch of colors on screen, look at this! Very true. Man, War of the Visions is like that, so I've been just doing a spite run of that, right? Because, honestly, it's not even a game. So far, I'm give or take 90 story missions into that thing. I have yet to actually need to participate in a single one of them. Because, again, when it first came out, there were a bunch of people saying, "Oh, look, it's so amazing! It's just what everybody always wanted," and there's no game there. So yeah, I've been doing, like, spitefully going through the story because there is a definite endpoint to it, and I'm about a little over halfway to it, as far as I understand, trying to see if it ever becomes anything even slightly resembling anything good. As of so far, no. It's literally the same thing. There's actually even a thing, like, the last time I was trying to say that there was maybe some potential to how the PvP worked. Gotta immediately swallow those words entirely, by the way. Yeah, it's, God, the PvP can be summed up as the more, like, the whole, like, anime waifu trope thing. The more they are of that, the more they will instantly kill everything on the map with no trouble whatsoever. And the more expensive they were, the more they'll do that. Like, there's specifically this one, there's 3 in particular that keep coming up. Because it's not the equipment that's available to them, it's not the classes that are available to them, it's none of that. One of them is that weird cat in a dress thing from FF14, one of them is just a tall blue cleavage lady, I don't know what the hell she's from, and third is a lady that kind of looks like let's say you took Sistina from, or not Sistina, but Saria from Tactics Ogre, put them, like, you wash them with some stuff in them, and, like, let's just say you wash them with the wrong sets of clothes, and they kind of ran, so they wound up being this weird pinkish color, and then they got brain damage, and all they could do was, like, do the weird anime drool face, and basically it's that. Which sounds like I'm being mean on it, but that is legitimately the first description that came to mind, because it's so weird looking. Their sprite looks like they should be a normal character, and then the art for it looks like they're brain dead. But anyway, point being, like, everybody else, and part of the reason that the game frustrates me so much is because it looks so much like FFT, and the mechanics are down there, like, way underneath all this BS. There's a game there, but But when you try to do the whole PvP thing, like let's say all your characters run in and, you know, at that point you've just completely checked out, so you just let the AI do their thing. Everybody else has the options at the start to just, you know, run forward or stay in place or run backwards. Okay, whatever else, doesn't matter. If those three show up, like, especially Cat Lady and Tall Blue Cleavage Lady, they will literally just take a few steps forward and just nuke your team away. And that's just it. You know, look at that. Look, they're so cool, you guys. They just win instantly. Why? Who knows? From what I can tell, it's one of the pre-made options. That they basically just give them exactly enough points to be able to just step forward and win every time with no trouble. So when I actually did try to do the PvP thing, by which I mean I left it just auto-running because it doesn't make a difference whether you play it or not, the AI will honestly do about the same. Because there's really not much to actually think about there. But point being that yeah, you can just leave it like that, and the top end of it is just like those two plus somebody else, and then it's just luck of the draw. Whoever happens to go first, whoever happens to just get their nuke off first, and that's kind of it. Everybody else doesn't even really matter or belong in that tier whatsoever. They do not have a chance, no matter what, really. Even if you get lucky, like the one way I've been able to make I've specifically been using just normal characters that I started with, just out of spite. Again, the entire thing is just a spite run, making no mistake. There's nothing to actually enjoy there. I just want to see how it actually ends. But point being, yeah, it's just there's nothing else to it. They just step forward and nuke the map, and that's it. That is PvP. There's nothing else there. Yeah, I don't know why people say it's a good game. There's very little game there. Like, you'd think there would be some optimizations there. Oh yeah, no, I was saying as far as the generic spear guy, their whole shtick was that they were a crit build, and just put everything into crit. Just lots of crit, lots of bonus damage on spears. So there is about a, I don't know, 30% chance that they will run up and just insta-kill something. Okay, they put all their points into being able to do that. And again, those two, step forward, entire team gone. No effort, no nothing, just gone. You can literally go into any story bit whatsoever, by the way, from the very start, and just hire them on as one of your people, and you will usually make back more money than you would actually hiring them, which tends to lead to this bizarre loop where it's more about just hiring out all the story missions to have them carry the entire thing. But anywho, lots of shiny colors is why that specifically came to mind. It's all very bright and shiny. Honestly, turned off the animations after a while because it was just pretentious. Because instead of what I'm used to here, where it's like they go in, you know, they maybe have some glowy stuff, but they're done within a second. Instead, they're like, oh no, they're gonna do a body slam. We gotta do like a 10-second animation for this. Okay, rant on. Anyway, let's see. See, aren't any greater because of what they are. Shooting, a boom because they're cute, and now we make that and those, and that's cool. No one plays games anymore. I mean, look what happened to Fire Emblem. Yeah, it sounds like Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Yeah. I would say there was a lot more going on with Fire Emblem there. There was an actual game to be played. There were actual mechanics, and somebody put some actual thought into it. The story, as much as I've been like checking out and then just randomly popping back into it to see if the writing stopped sucking for a second, it's funny because it tries to emulate the feeling of an old Matsuno game or something like that. Like, you'll have those moments where it's like, oh, you know, this country is backstabbing this other one, and the church is involved and everything else, but everything is completely off in a really weird way. Like, they have this one scene that was almost okay, and they're like, oh, look, here's all these guys that were fighting each other and all these different factions, and you just see the one guy in the church, you know, this big old church just sitting there, just like, oh man, can't believe they fell for that crap. And then 5 seconds later, he's just immediately thrown all of that idea out the window. He's just decided that he's gonna walk around the front lines and throw his plan out the window for some unknown reason. because now everyone's just okay with him being on top of everything. Like, again, the crux of their whole plan there involved it being secret. And then, the very next scene, they've traveled an entire continent to go and show up and talk to somebody that wants to murder them, and then they know they've got plot immunity, so they're just kind of there. Like, they just completely don't believe this one guy that just murdered dozens of their people single-handedly is just not a threat to them for some reason. It's... Point being, the guy switches sides immediately. Because they're like, oh man, we heard you don't like your dad. Would you like to go and friggin' invade his entire country now? He's like, oh man, sure do. As people do, I guess. And that was about that. No, I don't know how all that stuff comes together. It made no sense whatsoever. There was zero logic to any of it. Like, they hit the same beats as a Matsuno game would, but none of it made any sense. The actions are happening, but the reasons behind them are... Like, let's say the car's driving, but it's not driving because it has an engine and some gas in it. It's driving because somebody pushed it off a cliff, and it just happens to be gaining momentum. That's the best way I can describe it. If that makes any sense. Alright, let the kids see. So you found a key for this game online for $2. Should you buy it? Very yes. If you liked FFT, if you liked FFTA, A2, any of that, Tactics Ogre, yes, you will love it. This is essentially take FFT, and like take all the good parts about it and turn it up to 11. The art is a little bit weird. Don't let that dissuade you. Yeah, the art is a little bit weird, but in terms of mechanics, this is the most solid thing I've seen come out in the genre, seriously, in like a decade. And this is almost all of what I cover and do challenge runs of, so in terms of the genre, that is. Like, usually we do Tactics Ogre around here. Occasionally we'll do Armored Core stuff and other other bits and pieces here and there, but yeah, as far as SRPGs goes, this is A+. Like, A+, frickin' plus. It's just amazing. So waiting for DMC Collection to get a discount, stock in this game. Lots of stuff should be getting collections and discounts right now, because we're really in the crap universally everywhere right now. See, damage in a cone, gains a bonus healing damage in turn after using a regular attack. Weird. Huh, okay. Whatever, we'll put that on there. Let's see if we can give him anything equipment-wise. Give him an airlifts here. Still giving him a mind boost. Might be an interesting way to put it together there. Alright, put some wild card on you. See about getting her something better down the line. Kind of thinking instead of Mana Font, it might be a good idea to give her... What's it? Where the hell was it? Initiative. Since it counts as a full, complete turn, she would still get the MP bonus that she would have normally done. Probably can use a Mana Stone or something like that. Plus can potentially get the versatility to do something else in that process. Let's see, is there a pugilist class in the game? There is an everything class in this game, quite frankly. As far as fist fighting classes, I don't know the full extent of it. Like the werewolf seems to be going along that line. This guy over here seems to do a whole lot of melee-orientated classes, but generally speaking, if you're looking for, like, if you're talking about like, here, let's just look over the ones that we've unlocked so far. Because bear in mind, there are a ton, and I haven't even gotten all of them, and we're way into this game now. bear in mind, Bug Guy has his own stuff. So, okay, kind of going from the start here. So, basic mercenary guy. I'm gonna go ahead and assume you've done like FFT, FFTA, all that kind of thing. Mercenary, very similar to the FFTA soldier kind of situation there. A lot of very similar skills. Just in general, it's really close. Vampire here, not one I've used very often, but essentially makes use of a lot of different debuffs and things like that. Got a werewolf here. These are unlocked later, by the way. They're technically supposed to be a secret, but whatever else. It's like self-regeneration, got a bunch of like different bite attacks and weird positioning jumps. No weakness too, which is essentially just a 25% crit chance. You can stack that with the other no weakness for 50% crit chance on like before equipment bonuses. You can do some crazy stuff with that. Lord is exactly what you'd expect it to be. They eventually get all things. They can essentially get a free turn on kill, and they have a bunch of artillery-based like command abilities. It's kind of cool. Wait, whoops, didn't mean to do all that. Alright, let's see. Vessel, basically a mix of the Summoner and Blue Mage, I'd say, from the FFT games. Gadgeteer, very similar to the Tinker, except it's actually good. Gambler, very similar to the Gambler from FFT too, but again, actually good. It's got a bit more utility going on. This one is Spellblade, or actually War Mage, or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Very similar to kind of like a fully decked out Blue Mage from A2. Fellblade, basically the Gladiator with a few extra tricks. This one, I don't actually know what they are. I think that's going to be the Sorcerer or the Druid. I don't know. Double cast on them either way. Wizard, kind of what you'd expect, except they specialize in... they get Boon here. So basically they get a kill with spells. They get a guaranteed crit on the next one. Plague Doctor, kind of a mix of healer and attack caster and support. A bunch of weird stuff going on there. Alchemistic, similar to a more useful version of the Oracle from FFT. You've got Mender, exactly what you'd expect, really. Peddler, kind of like the Ranger from A2. Gunner, again, kind of a mix of like the A2 Archer and Hunter, I'd say. Scoundrel is basically Thief with a bunch of crit specializations. Ranger is again, very similar to the Hunter, except somewhat similar to the A and A2 Assassin there. Assassin is kind of it's really just like the FFT, the two Assassins you run into, basically that. Reaver, kind of a mix of the Fighter and, well, kind of a mix of the Fighter and the Berserker from Tactics Ogre. Duelist is basically the Fencer. Templar and Knight are kind of weird. They're a mix of a whole bunch of different heavy classes from all over the genre there. Got this guy that basically can change between all the different monsters in the game, depending on different kinds of stuff. You got unique classes for all your different characters. Got customizations out the frickin' wazoo here. Like, literally, you can just make almost anyone. That's why I have a bunch of Tactics Ogre characters in here. You got just builds out the ears, quite frankly. Challenge mode options, again, out the ears here. We're only doing everything default with Permadeath since this is my first time through. Is there facing in this? Yes, there is. Works very similar to A2. A lot of it is very similar to A2, I will say. So if you like that, like especially if you like the systems in it, the balance in this is way better. I will say that. And like, I should also point out, unlike most of the rest of the genre, no one ever really dies. Yeah, they do. These guys, I mean, for the purposes of this, they leave the option to turn off permadeath, and if you get too attached to your characters or whatever else. But these guys, I can't ever use them again as long as the mode is active. It's kind of an experimental mode that they technically advise you not to use, but I really love that. Anyway, so it's yeah, it's a fan-frickin-tastic game, and if you have it for $2 there, yeah, definitely get it. The art grows on you. Honestly, a lot of this stuff I was kind of down on at first, but it really has some charm over time. And you can make whatever the dang hell you want here. It's pretty fantastic. And the AI will actually roll different teams every time that you go into a fight, based off your difficulty settings. So instead of just being like, oh, hard mode activated this one little thing over here, instead it's like you basically have, okay, hard mode suddenly happened, but suddenly they're coming in with a lot more passives earlier on, or they've just got much nastier combinations of passives. Like, let's say somebody is coming in with exactly what I was cheesing with this guy, where they've essentially got critical quick, plus an ability that lets them ignore one attack. So every time that something turns off their shield, they just immediately reactivate it, stuff like that. The AI will randomly come up with different combinations that are really fun to figure out how to get around. So this is what I was saying. Like, it's seriously one of the strongest things I've seen come out of the genre in quite a long time. It's really refreshing. Like, I would say the only thing I've seen that has scratched the itch for this whole genre to actually do better, like over the course of the last decade here, has been One Vision. It's so good. Which One Vision's basically a complete immersion overhaul for Tactics Ogre Lucked. Alright, so we didn't actually get the thing we needed here. Right now what I'm doing is actually some endgame exploring. There's kind of a side quest here for different things that can appear on certain maps that we ran across. So we're just running around trying to get a hold of those. Alright, and there's the guy we need. So, we're gonna need pumpkin stoffleys in here. We're gonna need her. Got one Azelston. Yeah, Kia for the sake of traps. Might just have to trap the water, actually. And I want to bring in Smelter Blue here, because this map is gonna suck. Actually, the mechanics on this one are one of the reasons they specifically tell you not to use Permadeath, because these things can essentially just fling somebody into the water and they instantly drown. Are you able to talk so much? I get tired after talking about 5 minutes. It's called I Talk to My Kiddos All Day, and they will make sure that you will entertain them. That's how that works. Who the hell do we want to bring along for this? Sounds about right, yeah. Like, it's funny, this morning, so my wife and I have been working on making a bunch of masks for her hospital and all that kind of thing. So we were going and doing that, all that kind of thing, and my wife was figuring out all these different templates last night, and so we're up to like 3 a.m. 5 a.m. rolls around, we're dead tired. Daughter comes out, like slams the door open, turns the light on. It's like, Daddy, I need pancakes now. Oh my goodness, it's a trip, man. All right. I think the best option that we're going to go for here, gonna get Valentine in here. But yeah. Exactly, that's the only way you pronounce it. So I'm going to do a bit of an experiment here. Because we're going to see about just... I can't do it. Dang it. Alright, plans. We're probably going to take some injuries here. Almost certain. But yeah, so in terms of like nasty combos you can come up with, currently Azelston's one of my favorites. So basically double flash knives. So these are giving him a massive speed bonus, but he's dual wielding them, not necessarily for damage as much as just like ridiculous speed. Like he's already getting his next turn before you can see on the top there, before anyone else even. Basically combining that with initiative and combining that with lucky. So in most cases you can get a lot done before anything even happens. I probably should have combined with assassination here. But oh well. Yeah, we're out of taunt range here. And so it's these little frog hunter things, as I like to call them, over here on the left. That they're the ones that'll instantly drown people. So I think what we're gonna do, just throw a rock at this guy. He's gonna get fleet foot. But before anything else, we're gonna do the same thing to that guy. Oh crap! I did it wrong. So I'm still figuring out that mechanic. Essentially, there's just certain ways that you're supposed to chuck them in the water so that you get the insta-kill. And I don't know exactly what that is. Because I don't know if the bridge counts as a land tile or what. Actually, wait a minute. Did these guys not come with sabotage? Oh, nice. Okay, the game actually decided to be nice for once. Like, I will say, compared to most of the rest of the genre, this thing is brutal. Like, absolutely brutal. The arena right now, despite, again, playing this genre since I was a kid, it's proving a pretty impressive challenge so far. Freaking live and breathe these games, and it's nice to see that every time that something cheesy is discovered, the AI has some sort of weird counter for it. Like, for a while, I thought the fact that your main character basically turns into Orlando halfway through, I figured, you know, like, oh man, this must be really cheesy, you know, there must be something... This must be something nuts going on here. You know, surely this is just broken. Nope. Not even a little. What do I want to do here? It's probably not worth doing. What about Impalatron? That'll just ignore his defense. It's not amazing, but it's something. So you can't spell down with a D. Not a good social person, but I'm trying to break the ice. Talking more to my family, wouldn't believe what they would rather want me on mute. To be fair, that's when you just keep going. I mean, how we have a regular joke in my house here of it's kind of amazing that my wife doesn't throw me out in the snowbank every now and then. But that's the thing, you know. When you gotta make those bad puns, you friggin' go for it. Alright. I'm gonna see if he can maybe just outspeed this guy. Crit, please? No. Alright, we still might be able to finish him off here. So what I'm going for is actually Stone Tablet. One point shy of being able to do that. Yes. Okay, Bone Crusher, Angel Tears, Ender Crystal, not what we needed. Okay. So I'm not sure if he's going to count for the chest for this area. He might not. Suppose we'll find that out later. Oh, and by the way, I should point out that the game normally runs at a bit of a lower speed. It actually gives you the option to move it up to as fast as you'd like. And this 200% feels very nice. Alright, let's see if we can just do a spin move here. Counter's not ideal, but it'll work all the same. Come on, give me a crit. One, give me a crit. Wonderful. Honestly, still kind of fine. So yeah, her health's gonna hold up just fine. Let's drop a trap right here and put her facing this way and try to tempt him out. Try to break their arm. Didn't work somehow. The AI seems pretty competent. Oh, it is nasty. The AI in this just loves to be brutal. Alright, instant turn. Gonna Mirage you, probably. Unless we want to just finish this off. Yeah, and then if I do that, I can just have Azelston go do his thing. I know the logical choice there does seem like it should be to go and revive him. Or at least get him to a higher bit of health there. Or just put up Mirage or something. I'm gonna go for the heal instead. Largely because I want to... I'd prefer not to risk it at the moment. Because that guy's a Paladin over on the left, and he might go for that whole Cleansing Blade thing, and at which point he's just dead, so... Prefer not to do that. Especially since these guys don't have the throwing move, it's fantastic. See, we're making jokes with my sister for a while. They don't like it Sanction needs to focus on studying or eating, making a fuss. Ow. Well, maybe they need to study and then need to make, you know, mess with them afterwards. 271, that'll do the job. So that was basically your standard, you lost that much health, now you do that much damage kind of move. That's fine. She's the only one that can go down without causing any long-term issues. So we'll just go ahead and Phoenix her right there. Actually works out pretty conveniently. We're going to lose a little bit of AP for this fight, but oh well. Nice. And yeah, with the AI being nasty, that's where a lot of these weird combinations came from. So like right there I have a speed archer, specialized for crits. Right here I have a guy that's mostly specialized for zoning around. Also with the whole speed thing, we've got this one set up for all kinds of traps. I should point out traps, unlike most of the rest of the genre here, they're actually pretty useful. Seeing as they will automatically trigger. You don't actually have to get them to stop on that particular tile. Try to get this guy angry. Also, gunners typically are much stronger than this one is. The reason that she's so weak is because I have her using a gun that has a 50% chance to leg break every time that they take a shot, which has been pretty handy. Also, they're really underleveled, but they're only there as a trickster character anyway. Actually, I should probably have Pumpkin Stoffleys take care of that one. You're more urgently needed over here. Trying to get more health bonuses off of your lower health. It's funny, she's the only character on my team here that's willingly lowering her health constantly so she gets more strength out of it. But then automatically comes back to life. It's awesome. There's just so much nasty crap you can do with this. I love it. It feels amazing. It's just such a breath of fresh air after nothing in the genre for so long. Anything there's in a mobile game, rather. Alright, low percent dodge again. And Berserk down's not too bad. Chaos Slice, by the way, is random debuff plus damage. And yeah, well, while we're on the subject of builds, this one's whole thing is just putting down traps and having phenomenally high evasion. So 42% chance to evade anything, which I believe hard cap's at 45, so we should be fine there. See, not as funny as our YouTubers? Ah, whatever, man. I'm sure there's plenty of funny going on. Alright, they're gonna try to get friendly with this random Reaver over here. And let's see if I'm understanding this right, because I think they just have to travel over one tile. I can never seem to quite figure out what it is that makes them tick here. No, that didn't do it. Because I know this particular map, I had a ton of trouble, and we ended up taking a good, like, 6-something injuries off this one just trying to get through the fight. Nice. Interestingly, sabotage doesn't seem to cause you to lose charm. Ooh, you know what? Trying to see if maybe there's some deeper tiles or... screw it, I don't know. What makes you work? You'd think electroconstricting somebody at the bottom of a river would maybe cause them to suffocate, but apparently you gotta throw them in right. 188. Smack that up to a 302, and water works very similar to something like Knight of Lotus on this one, where you can drown in water, but you basically are just getting massive debuffs from being in there. Let's see, do you have any games you want to check out? At the moment, really curious about, what's it, Cyberpunk, but, realistically probably won't get to try that for a decent bit. Still wishing they'd make another Ogre Battle or Tactics Ogre at some point. What else? Sorry, I'm just looking for a particular item here. Right, this is the one that we couldn't get. Where is that one here? I want to say it was here someplace? There's one of these little map spots. No, it was a town map. It's got to be one of these ones. Old Bazaar, I think. Yeah, there we go. There we go. But let's see. Other stuff that was looking interesting. I mean, curious to see the DLC for this. Curious to see the DLC for Outer Worlds. Because I liked Outer Worlds, but it was just such a shame that it really was not one that lent itself well to going back and redoing it a few times. I don't know if you guys have played it at all, but yeah, it was... I don't know, it was just such a weird feeling. Because I thought I loved it, and then going back and trying to do a second run, it just... it didn't feel like anything. And it technically had all the usual stuff you'd want from something like New Vegas or whatever else, but it just didn't feel right on the second run. It didn't feel like anything was different. Alright, let's hope for the rebirth here. No, just attacking the fence up, that's not bad. Ooh, nice. Nice. Counter poison. Oh, by the way, I should probably mention there's basically counter effects for everything. It's pretty nuts. Alright, so he's just gonna go for that chest over there. And hopefully try to keep these guys out of the fight, though it's looking pretty unlikely. Nice. Oh, and also I should point out, crit damage is usually 50% bonus. She is doing exploit weakness, so it's 100% for her. I feel like I should probably explain any one of these mechanics as they come up. But let's see what else. I mean, honestly, not that much else comes to mind. Just truth be told, I haven't really been looking at that many games. If they made another Armored Core, I'd be really excited to see that happening, but it seems like they're kind of just umming and awing about that one for all eternity, so not much there. Dude on a unicorn! That's totally not Odin. Alright, Pumpkin Stoffleys is getting messed up real good. Although, he should be able to permanently Mirage over here. So that's fine. He did his job. If that guy decides to do his attacking thing, now we're just not going to give him a chance, I think. The crit duo. Nice! Don't even need the crit duo. Just got Azelston over here, just ruining everybody's day. Alright, let's give this guy debuffs, see what happens. Ah, gave him haste instead. It happens. It's not perfect. But they occasionally have issues. Alright, soul armor, not what I needed. Pretty cool. I actually never checked out that cursed shield either. But yeah, so as far as balance goes, it feels like every part of this, like, they thought it through. Obviously, you know, I can't really say every single part of it, but more often than not, it feels like everything that feels like it would be completely broken is just somehow fine. Alright. That wasn't ideal, but whatever. Just move you over here. How the hell did this town ever get taken over with this absolute hero over here guarding it? Let's see, Sekiro wasn't Souls, but it became Game of the Year. Still, FromSoft's games don't feel like I can give them... I don't know, Sekiro was awesome, man. It was a bit more focused. Like, here's the thing. It's not like it's out of the ordinary for them. Because it's like they did several different types of games back and forth. And it's the same thing I was saying with when it came to Dark Souls 2. Because there was a regular comment at the time, like, oh man, this isn't them, this isn't how they usually do it, it's all B-Team over here. And no. Honestly, DS2 is still one of it, honestly, is my favorite Souls thing. Just because it's so similar to the, like, it's identical in feel to their older ones there. It sounds like a really pretentious way to put it, but I mean, like Shadow Tower, Kingsfield, all that kind of thing, it has the same feeling, and it's hard to describe, but it's just that weird, empty, lonely world kind of situation. Like, where... is that even the best way to put it? where it's just like, sure, parts of it feel gamey, parts of it don't make sense. It doesn't exactly interconnect the same way that 1 does, for example. But I will still play 2 over it just because the feeling is better. Again, for me personally, it's not for everybody. The mechanics are arguably worse, but his point being, Sekiro was one of those types of games where they always did a kind of like a very focused kind of thing. What the hell was it? Was it Tenchu? I think it was Tenchu. They basically had their different like assassin kind of games and all that kind of thing. They had Armored Core, and then they had their kind of large-scale RPGs, or just weird RPGs is probably the best way to put it. So, like, for example, it started off with Kingsfield, and then eventually became Shadow Tower, and then eventually became things like, God, what the hell is it called? There's this weird one where it's, like, some Japanese people's in a temple, basically doing a Dark Souls, except on the PS2, and then it branched out into some of the... what the hell was it? Eternal Ring was pretty awesome. That was one of the sort of Souls-like before Souls. They made another Shadow Tower there. They made another... what was that one called? There's one that was like a big deal for the PS2 that had some of the most bizarrely confusing dialogue I've ever seen. Main point of all that just being that, you know, they've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. It's just how they do. But that was their focused game. After that, they're probably going to do another big RPG, or they'll do an Armored Core. It's just how they've always done it. Like DS2 because it was more like Demon Souls. Yeah. Honestly, I just like DS2 because it was... Whoa, what the hell? Apparently they can do that. They can reform one of their dead units out of their own body. What the hell will even happen there? Seriously, this far in, and we're still discovering new mechanics for every fight. But yeah, no, I love DS2. It just felt interesting. It felt mysterious. DS1, it absolutely blew my mind. But yeah, DS2, honestly, I didn't even like it at first. But then just over time, it just came to appreciate it more and more and more. It's just this bizarre mystery of a game. Alright, actually it doesn't make sense to go for that one. Softpaw is going to get this a-hole taken care of in just a moment. Might as well just go for that one. What's wrong with DS2 for fans? A lot of them were saying it was, you know, like it was made by the B team, and it just was like they were focused on something else, and it wasn't the original. It was a whole thing at the time. Throwing a rock at that guy just for EXP for the most part. And I really just don't want to move her anywhere. I'll leave you there. But yeah, point being, DS2 was more about exploring the world and all that kind of thing, whereas oh, I just realized how good of a dang combo I made with him. That means if he finishes somebody off with the crossbow, he gets the boon, plus he gets the 30% from Hallowed Mind. Holy crap, that might be amazing. See, I haven't touched Sekiro for a long time. Yeah, I mean, it's the skills game. It's the one that's got a very particular set of skills that it wants you to be good at. And, you know, it's, Ooh, got rebirth out of that. Okay. So here we go. Now we get to make proper use of drone mechanic. Goodbye. So you don't care about skills coming to me? The problem is I'm old-fashioned. See, like, it honestly was more of a fighting game in many ways. Like, it had all of these very specific combos and situational moves and everything else, and what, like, if you ever watch people going out of their way to learn some of those crazy mechanics and everything, dude, it is a wonder to watch. Like, Sekiro is one of those ones I'd much more prefer to watch than play, because I've never been good at those, like, here, you gotta enter this specific combination of buttons to do this one weird counter, you know, and do all this other stuff. It just never quite did it for me. I've always been more for, like, strategic kind of stuff, but, man, it's quite a thing to watch. Like, especially, like, no-hit runs or randomizer runs, which are a thing now. It's a thing of beauty. And some of the cool moments they had in that, like the frickin' monkey, man. I will always remember that monkey. Yeah, I feel like Critical Quicken plus the ability to do Mirage is better. But that doesn't quite work with this build here. Weird. Yeah, Hallowed Soul seems like a pretty iffy counter move. Basically just protects them from last element they were hit by, but you rarely get hit by the same thing in multiple things here. The other things, though, averaging out their mind and attack, do seem very handy. Right, and just a little bit away from getting Equip All. Yeah, I probably didn't need to get the big AoE heal, but that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Funnily enough, that's actually why Smelter Blue is here. It's just the random look that rolled reminded me of the Smelter, well, the second Smelter Demon from the DS2 DLC. But it's got neither here nor there. Alright, yeah, that's why I didn't want to use Shared Rage. So it's any offensive action taken on the character by an adjacent unit. So, yeah, it's only melee that this counters. Whereas Scar Tissue would give him potentially 40% resistance to everything. I think that'll be a bit more useful in his case. Like, I was thinking countering Illusionists with Berserk, but unfortunately, no, you can't do that. As far as I'm aware. You probably can do it in some ways. Alright, let's check the rest of the towns here, see if there's any more boxes to get a hold of. Camp Patrol here. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think we have everything aside from the story done. Yeah, we got that one. Nothing there. Nothing there. This one, I guarantee we have to come back some other way. Because we don't have any means to hover at the moment. Actually, wait a minute. Maybe we do. You. And if we change you to an Arpia... I don't know if that makes him fly or not. Animated corpse, forced back to life. Wow, he can just be a zombie? What the hell is that even? If it hits, it's always a critical and bleed, so that's going to be Wild Swing. Critical Rebirth, Automatize, Chilling Touch, chance to inflict slow. Oh! Oh, that's what that thing was. Oh, gotcha. HP and MP restored beyond maximum is converted to the other type. That seems a little meh. Let's see. Damage to the target's MP absorbs the damage dealt as MP. Deals 30% more damage if inflicted with bleed. That could be situationally interesting. It's just... I don't know if the Arpia hovers. I want to say it's this thing that hovers. The Malcubus. See, Inspiring just bought this game. Any options or settings you would change immediately? I would say just give it a try on default at first. Like, default difficulty is pretty difficult so far. I'm really looking forward to New Game Plus. Like, New Game Plus is going to be this combined with enemies having near unlimited items, and, well, not near unlimited. You don't have near unlimited items either. Actually, that's a cool thing about the item system in this. It's, you basically unlock slots for your items, but you don't actually, you don't have to go buy them. You just always have a certain amount of items. So it's kind of a cool way of doing it, and a nice little quality of life thing. So yeah, we need Malcubus to make that happen. Or do we... Either that or some way to hover. That's the only way to get to that box right now. But yeah, I would say try it on default. Default system, as far as injuries goes, is whenever somebody goes down in a fight, they have their stats reduced by 10% until you give them a fight off. The permanent injury system adds an additional 5% stat loss for every injury taken. Permadeath caps that out at 5, at which point they're just disabled permanently. So basically, I'm just running lower condition or lower stat units. But yeah, you can just improve the stats of the AI. You can improve their equipment. You can improve everything. I would definitely say just do it on default first, depending on how experienced you are with the genre and stuff like that. And you can change them at any time. So yeah, if you go to the menu here, it's like right here. You could change any of this. So yeah, that is that there. Now, is there anywhere where we can fight Arpias that isn't the story? Alright, here we go. Here's another potential chest location. Let's see. Just play a game and adapt to the gameplay. Just look at Thunder Force. Was able to learn the game in 8 hours, which makes me drop a game and read down like stories and lore. Makes it too much. Drop Dark Souls 1 because that was the most sluggish game I've ever played. Sluggier than Levi's Slug Gun. It can be really fast, depending on how you play, though. I mean, it's literally just how you approach it. Which I know sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but I know personally, I thought it was slow at first, and I played it really slow at first, but after you kind of get the general gist of it, that mess is fast. I mean, hell, speedrun of that game's like friggin' 2 hours. Okay, so what even is the chest here? Like, is it just an item, or did I spawn into the fight for nothing? Just kind of curious to see what this will do. Ooh, there we go. That's where the chest is. And now we know. And I still never actually checked out what that equipment was that we picked up. Let's see, DS1 is supposed to be slow, like Demon Souls, with the input buffering and the way the mechanics work. Meant to plan ahead instead of react like Sekiro. But yeah, in DS1 though, it was still pretty dang reactive. Like, looking back at it now, DS2 seems to be the final evolution of that idea from a design perspective, because for that one, there's legitimately a delay to everything that you do. Like, the parry has about a half second before its actual parry window activates. With DS1, it's instant. So as soon as you see the swing about to hit, you just slap it away, and it feels very punchy once you get used to it. with regard to yeah, to DS2. It's a little clunkier, slower, all that kind of thing. But yeah, no, Sekiro was definitely the final evolution of the whole speed reaction idea. DS2, I feel like, was the final evolution of the slow, exploration idea. And then DS3 was kind of just trying to meet fans halfway, I felt. But, that's a whole thing of its own. Personally, I wasn't a fan of DS3. So not in it to play strategy games. See, but that can also depend. I mean, like, technically War of the Visions is a strategy game, but there's almost no actual game there. Meanwhile, over here, this thing is technically also a strategy game, and it's, like, just thinking 15 moves ahead all the time. Alright, so block off that area. Man, I just love how good traps are in this. Again, One Vision did this. To some extent, A2 tried to do this, but just that nice feeling when it's like, oh, you set all those traps up, you know that they're going to stop them in this particular spot, you know how you can trick the AI to get there. Feels so good. Feels so good. Oh, and by the way, and just so you know, kind of going into this one, if you're wondering why certain customization options might be missing from the start of the game, don't worry, it's not like they're locked behind DLC or something like that. It's actually that you unlock them over the course of the game. There's a few little hidden things here and there. Alright, poison crit. Just deal with this one. It's so nice. And yeah, I don't know what the deal is with butthole dragons, by the way. They're the one, so far, the one design that's just been like, what the hell even is this monstrosity? But, they're relatively uncommon. It's different for what it's worth. It's unusual. Off to play the game, cheers. You enjoy, sir. You enjoy this awesomeness. And yet, anyone else that's wondering whether this is a recommend, I cannot recommend it higher. Like, it's just a wonder. It's so very good. Literally, the only downside of this game is occasionally the art. And if you turn up the speed, which, by the way, you can just do that in the options. By default, it's a decent bit slower. It's like that's the only downside I can possibly mention about this thing. Get out of here, dragon. And we're just gonna have to try and heal bot this. Trying to counteract his bleed and give him a little bit of a heal here. On. Put him right over here. For that matter, I wonder if we can maybe drain out the swamp this way. Holy crap! He just one-shot him. So those things hurt. Good to know. He's still got his Mirage up. I don't want to put either one of them here. It'll be a bit too dangerous. I was going for the crit. Poison should hopefully finish him off. Dodged. Springatron gets her down a little ways. She's technically poisoned for 1 round. She'd probably still heal out of it, though. We're just going to stick a painful trap right there. And as much as poison would almost certainly kill this guy, would prefer not to take that chance. Because we've got a good team going here, and I don't want to see anyone else taking injuries. Also, as much as that guy can try to do that, really wonder if Desperate Blow can crit. Knew it. Alright, they're gonna be fun as they are. You need to finish off this friggin' Mega Ogre, or whatever his name is. Desmogre. See, the funny part is, as much as the AI is competent, at the same time, they also, they kind of follow the same kind of pathfinding rules you do. So even if you specifically tell them, like, okay, I want you to go avoid this particular situation, you know, try to walk around this way, they will oftentimes still take the path that gets one of their units taken out. Okay, hover boots. Perfect! That's exactly what I needed to go get that other one now. Let's go warp you over here. See if they go for the finisher. Oh, it's so risky, but I want to do it. Beautiful. Okay. So he's right there. In case he decides to go for something tricky here, we're going to put one right there. Oh, he did the tricky thing! Aw, man. Hopefully we didn't lose Asselstyn there. Okay, yeah, no, he's going to be fine. He's going to be just fine. I mean, he's going to lose 10% of his stats, but he's also going to give himself an instant turn right here. And he's going to be all like kapowing this guy. Nice. The Shank Lord continues. Let's see, it was good at playing turn-based RPGs when I was young, but I got bored thinking knowing everything beforehand makes the game not fun anymore, so I'm better at reaction to skill-intensive games. See, that's what I love about this one, though. Everything changes every time that you do. Every time you do something. And same thing goes for One Vision, just because there's kind of a soft version of that for Tactics Ogre. Like a really soft version of that, all things considered. Where basically you're getting... Hang on, who's going to get the hover boots? I feel like it should be him. But yeah, there's a soft version of that where they can just come in with different skills and whatnot. I feel like I should replace this, but... Man, everyone's got such good stuff here, I don't even know who to give the hover boots to. We'll just say Evangel. We'll just bring him along. I mean, he is the AC guy, he should be able to hover. See, Dark Souls can kick my booty here, but it's not for me. That's the problem about saying it to anyone else. Oh, you don't like it because you suck. Yeah, that kind of stuff did get pretty annoying. I think we'll actually have JC have his first fight here. We're gonna carry along because apparently we like to suffer. What's everyone running here? Alright, so he has no water move. That's all I'm checking for right here. Tail flail... I think that still pushes. Yeah, pushes one tile away, so that could be really dangerous. So he has to get dunked in the drink first. And we're gonna have Jill in here. Gonna be necessary, and Smelter Blue for the heal nuke. Alright. Let's see if I got this right. Okay. Most dangerous guy is gone. But yeah, as far as I see it, as far as Dark Souls goes, there's kind of a lot of different approaches that that kind of work for that one in terms of why you would like it. Like, the first thing that drew me into it was the exploration. So people that like exploring every nook and cranny, for people that really like fighting games but don't exactly like fighting games, and also for people that just like to do kind of weird challenge runs and all that kind of thing. So I kind of happen to fit all those bills, because Armored Core kind of fits into that same niche, where it uses a lot of fighting game-esque mechanics, but it isn't actually a fighting game. But the PvP certainly feels that way. Okay, that could have been an insta-kill, but thankfully it wasn't. Just give everyone the heal nuke. Find a good danger tile. I think if they're in the water, they're still allowed to be dunked in it. Might as well dunk this guy. Because unless they have hover, that'll be an insta-kill in most situations. Or can this reach anyone? Almost. 51 chance per sleep. No luck there. Bit of a bummer. Like right there, double cast Mender. It's just brutal. Just plain brutal. do. Definitely gotta get rid of that guy ASAP. Let's see. I think a better way to play Dark Souls is knowing where to go, so I don't waste time exploring, but then being under-leveled is a problem, and then I get daunted because people can do solo level 1 challenges. Yeah, I've done that too. It's really not as difficult as it looks. It's just, okay, so Dark Souls works in many ways like Tactics Ogre does, where it's just, there's layers and layers and layers of different stuff in the system. So you can essentially just cheese stuff to your heart's content if you understand how that system works. So, like, sure, if you're just going on a one-to-one fight, like, you're just one against the other, skill will decide a decent bit of that, but there's still, of course, the possibility that you'll just get, you know, smushed by somebody that's a higher level. It's actually something that they tried to address in the DS1 remake by tying everybody's kind of situation to their equipment phylactery. Man, where the hell are these stones? Didn't come here for a dang class mark. Anyway, point being, though, yeah, it's just, for example, that solo level 1 run, mostly what it boils down to is the fact that you can use things like, for example, pyromancy. It's scaled to the power of the fire hand, as opposed to any kind of stats. So essentially, if you get, I think it's like 40k or something like that, you can just completely max that thing out. And so at that point, it doesn't even matter that you're under-leveled. You're still doing full damage from it. It's a little hard to hit stuff sometimes, but honestly, it's perfectly fine. Then you get other situations where, for example, you can level up particular weapons in particular ways, but they'll add flat damage. So lightning in particular adds the most flat damage. Yeah, that didn't work out so well. I forgot they're too tall to be affected by that. It's just there's all kinds of little stuff here and there that you can take advantage of. Worst game I ever made, man. Solo level 1 challenges are pretty fun. It's actually the mentality is very similar to what I was going to be doing pretty soon here, which was going to be to do a level 1 challenge of Tactics Ogre. Like I said, the general ideas are very similar because there's a bunch of ways that you can get flat damage and things like that. There's a bunch of ways that you can just get past damage thresholds, and I would say unintended ways, but let's be honest, they're completely intended, just not in the way that they're programmed in, presumably. Either way, there's a lot to be done there. Glad he's getting levels, but that doesn't really help with a lot of things here. Nice. And with any luck, I should be able to put you here and make this dude go splat. I know it was a 0% chance to actually silence. Just wanted to do it anyway. Alright. Where else was there a box that we couldn't quite get to? Also, before I forget, I should probably check out all that gear I've been picking up. Right, nothing new there. Wait a minute. I know I picked up the cursed shield. Why did Reavers not get the cursed shield? Let's see, only battle can appease the curse on this shield. Interesting. Why the hell would you use this? Okay, this has to be like an ultimate shield or something like that that you can go remove the curse on or something. Like, you use it long enough and you get something amazing out of it. Because it literally just makes you weak to everything. I mean, her evasion would only go down by 5. It's already really high. How would I like her shield? Who do I use that has a shield regularly? I guess there's you. You really don't need the jet boots that bad, do you? There we go, cursed shield. I have to know what that thing does. Alright. Second off, what is this armor? Mysterious black armor caked with blood. Okay, so you get some really minor bonuses across the board. This seriously is starting to feel like the cursed set from Golden Sun. I mean, it's really not that bad, but it feels like, again, this probably ends up getting a set bonus or something. Let's see, Sage Hat. Just a good caster hat. In fact, this actually might not be a bad idea for him. Let's see, gigantic hammer made from the bones of a god. Now that's okay. That makes me think of the Yggdrasil Gnarl from TOPSP. Like, for anyone unfamiliar, one of your endgame hammers is this thing that's just a hammer made out of Yggdrasil, basically. All right, who was my hammer guy? Where am hammer? It's you, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. A little bit extra health, a little bit extra attack. I mean, it's alright. It's a flat upgrade. I won't say no to that. Alright. I think that's everything. I'll just leave him with the hover boots. It feels fitting for his character. Water damage sounds good. Heals HP in a small area, also restores 5 MP. Could be useful. Also, oh, Sihi? I thought it was Psyche for a second there. Alright, let's see. I'll give you a challenge now. Play Ghouls and Goblins from the Famicom. Alright. Can do. Why don't we make that tomorrow? Sounds like a plan. Ah, these do have debuffs. Okay, I think Blind would be a bit more useful than Slow. Slow is not nearly as strong as it was in FFT. Plan? Alright, sounds good. Alright, but either way, I think that about covers, it for today. That's basically all I wanted to get done. Let me do one last pass here, because I think I got all the boxes. At least that I can get to. No, there's apparently one here. Right, okay. One more. One more. Right, except... Right, now I remember why I didn't do this one. Oh wait, there he is. First plan is like this. He goes in here, hopefully gets a rebirth. Nope, just a haste. Whatever, it'll work. He's also running initiative. He's gonna go throw a rock. Whatever, that's fine. They're gonna go over here and hopefully crit the crap out of this guy. Alright, 2 hits, nothing too impressive. This guy is gonna go over here into this friggin' wormhole. It's not an actual wormhole, it's a whirlpool. It's fine, don't worry about it. And we're going to take advantage of sabotage. To friggin' wreck some faces. So he can jump right back in the water whenever he feels like it. Now she's going to go scout to get to up that crit rate. That guy's gonna put us into a better position for some reason. Man. It's so brutal by this point. And still no tile drop. Also, out of curiosity, just in case it isn't that guy. Never mind. I was looking around to see if there was anything that might have, anything that might be interactable. Nonsense. Pumpkin Softly doesn't die. That's right. He'll be back to go assassinate somebody else in just a moment. Next up... Can I use a lure on any of you? 79%. Beautiful. Let's see. Thinking back to the old arcade documentary made me realize Japan just accepted video games with their culture, but in our place it's seen as a waste of time. If only gaming would be accepted as a more common thing and stop being disrespected for my parents, my hobby, and my opinions, there might be more social interaction. If you used to mention video games to anyone older than me, I expect you're wasting your time, get a job. Yeah, it's not ideal. I will say, for what it's worth, phone games are, as you know, oh no, phone games as they are, they're at least giving a little bit more legitimacy to the thing. I feel like in kind of current generation, there's a lot more acceptance of it, at least. Oh, okay, apparently that one can survive it. Good to know. In that case... time to charm more bugs. Yeah, I kind of figured they were off-screen, and so we didn't see the damage numbers earlier, but that makes a lot more sense. Alright, that one's charmed. That one's also charmed. Just gonna have her focus then. Very nice. So you see my sister on the laptop playing big old girl games, a flash game about frozen women dressing up, that's it. I think there's... I don't know, I think there's more of a... more thought about that kind of thing happening than may actually be happening. There's certainly instances where it, you know, annoyingly does happen, but I feel like there's also just kind of some leftover stigma from the past there. It might not be forgotten quite yet. Not sure if I'm describing that right exactly, but... probably shouldn't have quite done that. That's the Bull Drake one, so this should take care of him. Alright, apparently that thing can swim just fine. So I'm gonna drop some traps. Don't ask how this is all working. It just works. It's fine. We're just fighting casually in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, that didn't count as a treasure chest, so... hang on, let me Google that real quick. Because I have a theory, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Drake's Mouth Seaway treasure chest. Visually obscured, but doesn't require special movement to obtain. Weird. Alright. It says it's at 6'3". Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 6. Could it now? There we go. Okay. What in the hell was that? Hang on, gonna be... There's something going on over there. Yeah, let me be right back. Alright, and back. So, apparently not what I thought it was. Anywho, let's go on here. Can we lower you? No. What about you? Sounds good to me. Pumpkin Stoplies will go for a swim. That'll do. Let's do defense down on that guy, see if they view that as important enough to deal with. Double blind is fine, because we're going to get the heal nuke in a moment. Dude, don't even joke about that. That's just messed up. Yeah, that's something you never make a joke about. Different kinds of humor. Wasn't mine either. Eh, still though, don't joke about that. It's like, it's one of those things, it's like, once you have kids, it definitely changes your perspective as far as that stuff goes. Like, I've got a pretty dark sense of humor a good bit of the time, too, but kids are not something I joke about. Especially in that context. What the hell just happened there? Alright, so yeah, we're just testing one last thing here. Okay. Still not really what I was looking for there. Just trying to see if we can break the death system for him here. Okay, yeah, no, that if he goes beyond 5, he still dies. So it is Rapturous that makes him come back to life. Alright, anyway. So we're going to go ahead and call it there for the day. So, see you guys next time. Take care.